At this moment, you're in the central part of the United States, over 100 feet below the surface of the Earth, surrounded by thick, reinforced concrete. In the event of an attack, this entire structure can be sealed, protected against penetration of radioactive fallout. Through those doors and around the corner is the operations control room of the Long-Range Air Offense Force. Thank you, Sergeant. From this room, the force throughout the world is controlled and monitored 24 hours a day, in peace as it would be in war. This force is a combat-ready offense force. It is a deterrent force dedicated to the prevention of war, any war, large or small. This offense force is complemented by the Joint Allied Early Warning Air Defense System. Offense Control, Colonel Dawes. Good. Recheck the weather in that area. The last forecast indicated thunderstorms. Right. Gentlemen, from this room, we control the entire long-range air offense force of 3,000 bombers, tankers, and support aircraft. It is a joint chiefs of staff force which is poised, ready to strike targets anywhere in the world, from bases in the United States and overseas. It is the most powerful military force in world history. We are in contact with this force through the most advanced communication system ever built. It affords practically instantaneous communication with over 100 bases in the United States and our many bases overseas. Closed-circuit television provides immediate information to the senior officers of the staff, enabling them to make vital decisions instantaneously. To transmit these decisions to the force, we have this red phone alert circuit. This circuit allows us, by merely dialing 10 digits, to seize or override all other lines and set up in a matter of seconds a conference call to the control centers on all our bases. All such conversations are recorded on these tape recorders here. Sitting over there are the controllers. For effective control of the long-range offense force, the world is divided into 3 areas. Each man controls the aircraft in a given area. This is a deterrent force with a primary mission of keeping a global war from starting. If we are to be successful in this mission, we have to have plans of all kinds, detailed blueprints, so to speak, that have been worked out far in advance. These are flexible plans and can be changed to meet any contingency. Let's have a look at some of the displays. Andy, take over here, will you please? We call this the big board. These panels show missions in progress throughout the world. Some forces are being deployed, some are being shifted, some are special missions to improve combat effectiveness. These missions are going on 24 hours a day, and averaging the high activity periods with the lows, we have 10 to 15% of the total force airborne at all times. To support this activity, an aerial refueling operation takes place every 3.5 minutes. See these clocks here? Never before in military history has time been so important. But of course, our true mission here is to control this offense force. As I have said, it is a deterrent force. It's a force which we control in readiness to perform air strikes against an enemy, and in the event of war, when it would make these strikes. Sergeant, let's see plan war dance.
Yes, sir.
War dance is a typical war plan for our heavy units. The fate of the nation may well be determined on such a board as this. This plan of force application may be adjusted depending on the world situation. All the information needed to control the force is here. This board and other boards behind it dictate routes, refueling points, target areas, return points, and all the other things necessary to make the plan work. If the button's ever pressed, we're all set to go. You'll notice this ring of bases encircling the enemy. Every day we're running exercises in and around these bases with no formal pattern. Some of these exercises follow good tactics, but always we mix in many bad tactics which we would never actually use. Thus we keep the enemy from forming any idea of our real plans, and therefore from making his own plans to meet us. He knows we may use these bases, but he can have no idea which we'll use today, tomorrow, or if a war should start. And he knows we can launch our attack without them. During the time period 1958 through 1960, the United States has an offensive strike force sufficient to deter war. It's an effective intercontinental nuclear air force, secure as we can make it within our resources. A sizable portion of it is secure from destruction by the enemy, regardless of what offensive and defensive action he takes against it. The size, composition, and alertness of the offense force is such that the enemy realizes that an attack on the United States would likely mean committing national suicide. A substantial portion of this force is maintained on constant alert, ready to begin taking off within a few minutes after receipt of the order to launch. This means that even with no more warning than that provided by our early warning radars, a force of hundreds of long-range nuclear bombers would be on their way toward vital targets in the enemy heartland before their bombers could reach our bomber bases. This constant combat readiness is the surest way to prevent war. This massive capability is the deterrent of wars. The more we disperse, the larger the portion of the force that can be launched on a few minutes' notice, and the more difficult it is for the enemy to convince himself of his ability to destroy it. The enemy cannot prevent the takeoff of these bombers on alert, and the enemy cannot prevent our penetration into his heartland as long as we maintain our relatively stronger deterrent force. But the enemy could someday gain greater strength and surpass our deterrent force. This must never happen. Nobody wins in nuclear war because both sides are sure to suffer terrible damage. Nevertheless, it is imperative that we make sure that the enemy can never impose his will upon us by military force. Despite our efforts to deter them, the communists may resort to general war. This is not considered likely to happen before the year 1960. If they start a war, this is what will happen. The early warning air defense net of the United States and our allies would pick up the first signs of unidentified aircraft.
Offense control, urgent. This is air defense.
Go ahead, air defense.
We have a large number of unidentified aircraft coming in from the north. Our television camera covers our board at this moment.
Roger, air defense. We see them. Sergeant Williams, stand by to establish a conference call to all bases. General Larson, please.
This is General Larson. Go ahead.
Sir, would you turn on your screen? A large number of unidentified aircraft have just appeared.
Right.
Go ahead, air defense.
This is air defense. Large groups of unidentified aircraft have been reported at Baffin and Prince of Wales Islands and near Banks Island. Reports from Alaska indicate unusual activity in northeast Siberia. We're considering reclassifying these unidentified aircraft to hostile because of the unusual number and tracks.
Air Defense, this is General Larson. Is your commander there?
This is General Ryan. Go ahead.
Jim, how does this look to you?
I'm sure this is it, Dick, in view of the advance indication given us by Central Intelligence last night. More reports keep coming in all the time. We've just talked with our people in Alaska and to the Canadians. Both are picking up tracks. My crews are on 5-minute alert. All our deployments have been accomplished. Our anti-aircraft missile sites are at full alert, ready to launch.
How much time have I to get my aircraft off the ground?
Our first check of their speed indicates you have about 2.5 hours for your bases in the northern United States. That's a rough estimate, but I'll refine it as soon as we get a better look at them.
That's close enough. I'm getting my people moving right away. We'll have a third of our force launched within 20 minutes. They'll be in strike configuration, but will not proceed beyond Applejack control line without further orders. Please keep us advised.
Okay, Dick, will do.
Thanks, Jim. Pentagon, get me the Joint Chiefs.